And we're live. What's up, TXE? Tells all crew, TXE crew. Who's checking in for the live today? We try to do a live on Saturday, but didn't work. So we want to reach out to our TXE crew today on the live. We have a lot to talk about. If you want to say something about the video we just posted 2 days ago, we could possibly have space for that too. Now that we're live, we getting a lot of comments on that video. So this might be the opportunity to do more than one topic, but our main topic is going to be the short list of new Black Supreme Court justices that Biden is going to consider for the next Supreme Court justice spot. So we're going to give a couple of seconds let people come in, and then we're going to get right into it. We're not going to make it too long, but we're going to hit it and quit it. And we got a couple of new followers as a result of that video, Tracey, on Saturday.
Yes. It's been controversial. I've actually watched a few other influencers and content creators and their take on it. A lot of people have been talking about it. So I've learned some stuff about Thandi and about different people's perspectives from, Americans and people that are from Zimbabwe kind of chimed in and gave
I know
on that. So that was all interesting. So yes, we can kind of chime in, but today we're gonna focus on the Supreme Court nominee and those things. So, but if y'all haven't followed us on Instagram, make sure you check us out over there too. TXE Tells All, and today is Monday, so I posted. I'll be struggling on Monday, so I posted. What's one new goal for the week? That's something I'm doing personally, trying to give myself one goal for the week and trying to accomplish it. By the end of the week, it could be something big, it could be something small. I'm a procrastinator, so this is big for me because I'm just trying to, of course I do the things. I'm deadline driven. My job is deadline driven, but this is outside of like my work. What's one goal for the week? So if you haven't checked us out on Instagram, I posted that on my story today. What's your one goal for the week? Mine was creating a new or revised financial investment plan with my new financial advisor. So that's my one goal, to keep that appointment and try to do that. LaRita, you got any one new goal for the week?
My goals are always there every day. So, I was productive today. I finished the case. That was my goal. I met my goal. I'm going to do this live.
You met your goal on Monday? Dang, I'm like...
I have daily goals. So that was my...
Oh, okay.
My daily goal. So, yeah.
Okay.
So, all right. I guess people are following as it comes along, hopefully, but we don't want to keep people too long. So, historical moment, President Biden announced that he's going to actually appoint a Black Supreme Court justice, Black woman Supreme Court justice. We've never had one in the history of the Supreme Court. We've had how many Black people? We have Clarence Thomas. Have we had any other Black Supreme Court justices other than Clarence Thomas?
That's a good question. I feel like we should know the answer to it. Thanks, Rita, for putting us on blast. We're going to have people in the comment section like, I thought y'all were attorneys.
Comment below. Comment in the chat. I think Clarence Thomas, like, he's the first. I don't know if he's the first and the last. I feel like I'm missing something.
LaRita putting us out there.
Anyway, so we're going to get the first Black Supreme Court.
Thurgood Marshall. I was thinking him. I was just like, wait a minute.
Oh, Thurgood Marshall was the first. Yeah. You're right. Samara just talked about that in her Thank you, Marcus. You late though. You late, Marcus. Thank you though.
Yes. They are getting my husband's looking at this right now, like, God, that she gonna just sit there. And no, I went to Thurgood Marshall School.
Yo, now we had a moment. Okay. Thurgood Marshall.
I'm putting that on LaRita.
Clarence Thomas. All right, but it's gonna be the first woman Supreme Court justice. So people are all like in a tizzy about it, like, okay, what's going on? Ted Cruz is talking about, he's offended that Biden just said that he's going to actually nominate a Black woman. He's like, Black women only make up 5-6% of the population, so why are we appointing a Black Supreme Court justice? Some people are saying he's missing the mark as far as diversity is concerned. Like, it's not just that, it's the diversity of the court. Like, having other opinions based on other cultural experiences can contribute to the outcome of these cases. And so, like, it's going to be a lot of drama surrounding it. So it's going to be interesting to see. So I'm going to show you a picture. Let me see if I can share the screen. Work with me, guys, so that I can show you guys the screen, and then we can go from there. Oh, shout out to my Samara's mother. She's the one who highlighted the fact that, yes, we should have been paying attention that Thurgood Marshall was the first Supreme Court justice. All right, so let me try to share the screen to show us a picture of the share screen. Okay. Tab. All right. Okay, so these are the Supreme Court justice nominees. And I just like to do another plug because we talked about in the it wasn't a live on Saturday, in the video on Saturday about the issues of colorism as it related to colorism within Hollywood. Apparently, colorism is not as live and well in considering the Supreme Court justices. As you can see, they have a variety of lighter complected and darker complected women, and I'm proud of all of them that they have gotten to this point. They bring all different wealth of experiences to the Supreme Court, so it'll be interesting to see who they actually pick. I know that many of the, hold on, let me try to stop sharing. Many of the opponents to picking them have said, like, okay, who do we think is best for the job and why? And I know one person in particular, Michelle Childs, is one of the front runners who may or may not get support from both parties. And so, Tracey, if you want to talk a little bit about that.
So she goes by J. Michelle Childs. I think her first name is Juliana, but she goes by J. Michelle Childs, and she looks a little different, right? Not only because she's Black, but because she did not go to an Ivy League. She's from Detroit, but she went to the University of South Carolina for law school. So she would be, if she is chosen, she would be the only justice that didn't go to Harvard or Yale. So it does give us not only some, it expands the horizons of attainability for Supreme Court justice seats, not only for Black women, but also if you didn't go to an Ivy League school, one of these top schools, Harvard and Yale, and you say, I want to be a Supreme Court justice, is that possible? If she gets the seat, that changes the game for a variety of different reasons. But she has been having some criticism from, I guess, more liberal, the liberal party, if you want to say, or just people that are scrutinizing, okay, who is J. Michelle Childs? We know she's Black. We know she's a woman. We can look up where she went to school, but some people are looking a little bit deeper into her resume and saying, wait, hold on a minute. She's not for the people. Like so before she was, she is a judge in the United States District Court for the District of South Carolina now. Before that, she was a state court judge. But before that, she actually worked for a defense firm defending these big corporations that were essentially engaged in employment discrimination or labor law violations, right? So she was a defense attorney for these big companies, trying to protect them against these lawsuits that were being filed against them where these allegations were being made. So people are looking at her like she's not an advocate for workers' rights. She's not an advocate against discrimination, even though she's a Black woman. What side of the fence is she going to fall on when these Supreme Court cases are coming before her? And some people are saying, don't put blindfolds on just because she's a Black woman. You got to really look at her history and see what she stands for. And she has been receiving some criticism because of that. So let us know what you think. Do you do?
Yeah, you saw Debt Free Dad said the top candidate, her record sucks. So I don't know if he's talking about her. but it sounds like clarify, Debt Free Dad, who are you talking about? And I have my own opinions about who I think they're going to actually pick based just on previous experience. I think I have an idea of like who's more likely to get picked, but I kind of want to know. Comment in the chat section. Who do you think that Biden is going to end up picking for this position? Because it's actually pretty, it's getting pretty short. The short list is getting shorter and shorter by the day as far as people's records coming out and things of that nature. What did he say? Top pick is Masker. She's to reasons. That's why Lindsey Graham. Oh yeah, so he's talking about Childs. Yeah, so Lindsey Graham loves Childs, and he's actually a Republican, right, from South Carolina. He's supporting her nomination. He's like, she's great. We need somebody other than these Ivy League dogs. So maybe that explains. Debt Free Dad was explaining why Lindsey Graham loves her, because usually you don't see. Usually, I guess when they're doing this kind of support, they expect the support from Democrats, but not necessarily Republicans. But he's saying, no, I'll support her. She's from my state, and I'll support her. Now I know why he said he's going to support her, but we'll see if she makes it. I mean, it does. it does. It's almost like the underdog winning kind of thing, in a sense of like, if you just look at her resume, right, and not look at her record, the underdog winning. Somebody from Tracey and I both did not go to Ivy League for undergrad or law school. When we see people who are doing it and didn't go that route that people feel like is the way to kind of ascend, is inspiring. But then you have to step back and be like, wait, hold up, because you know some of the proponents of Clarence Thomas, they like, oh, like this second Black Supreme Court justice, and then next thing you know, they call him all kind of names because they're like, oh, he ain't for the people. Like, he's not really for the people. So it's just not like, oh, somebody's skin color, like they're Black, but like, what do they really support? So that's gonna be interesting to see. I think let's bring it back up so you can see who I'm talking about. Ketanji Brown. She just recently got appointed to the U.S. Court of Appeals in D.C. So she was in district court, D.C. District Court, and she was one of the few Black women in the district court in D.C. And I actually interned there right before she got appointed, because I was interning for a Black woman judge. She was a magistrate judge though in D.C. District Court. That's the federal court in D.C. And then Ketanji actually, I think, was the first one on the actual, like, as a regular associate judge. So Ketanji got appointed to the district court, and but she's Harvard educated. And then, as of last year, she got appointed to the U.S. Court of Appeals, which is seen as so Ketanji is the top left-hand corner with the glasses, and she wears her hair in locks, right? Which actually, a couple of them wear their hair in locks, but the top left-hand corner is Ketanji. So she actually is. Let me stop sharing. She's actually now in the U.S. Court of Appeals for District of Columbia. And that is seen as the feeder court to the Supreme Court, right? They get a lot of the cases that Supreme Court also may see in the future. And so even for people who want to go to law school, if you clerk for a D.C. Circuit Court judge, then you probably, if you want to clerk for a Supreme Court justice, your chances are a lot higher after clerking for a D.C. Circuit Court judge. So right now she's in D.C. Circuit Court. So I think, now, don't hold me to this if I'm wrong later, but I think that's going to make it through because she's Ivy League educated, because she's in a DC Circuit Court. She's going to be the next person, and she just went through the vetting process last year to get to the Circuit Court, so they've already like put it through the rigmarole to get that position. So they're already familiar who she is. I think she's going to be the next one to make it. So we'll see, but I don't know if I'm right. Let's see who are people voting for? I don't care about your color if your judgments are more damaging to Black and grown people, brown people. I
agree. And I think I had to kind of learn that as I grew and mature, especially being a civil litigator and being in the court and seeing how judges were applying the law or not applying the law. And I really learned to, when I go to the ballot, actually do some research and look, because these are the judges that are actually going to be making decisions in my cases. I think before I was like, oh yeah, Black power, let's vote for her, let's get her in. But then it's like, oh no, but wait, she about to make this motion for summary judgment against me. Like, what are the policies? I do employment discrimination mostly on the plaintiff side. How do you feel? That's important to me. Supreme Court justice, what side of the fence do they fall on as far as employment discrimination and labor law? That's important to me personally, as far as my morals and what I advocate for, and my bottom line, like my pockets. Are you going to be having Supreme Court decisions that make cases for me more difficult, make it more difficult for me to advocate for my clients? I'm gonna need to check that out. So I think I agree with you definitely that I learned, like, not just because she's Black, like it's got to make sense as far as what policies, and it's not always the case. We can't afford to put on blindfolds and just nominate people because they're Black. And we want to see more representation in the justice system, but more representation, unfortunately, sometimes can mean, worse policies for our people. So we got to be Black ain't always right, white ain't always right. We got to be mindful of that. So I'll be interested to see. I did some surface level research on her today, but I want to look more into some of the other candidates and see where they stand on certain things. But honestly, we all vote, and we see what happens when we actually go to the polls and vote for our representatives. This is kind of like a lesson. We look at her, looking at her immediately, we might assume, oh, she's not from Ivy League, she's probably liberal, but a lot of her past her resume basically shows that she might be a little bit more on the conservative side. So
Interesting. We're gonna see. I brought up on the screen the Ted Cruz article. Ted Cruz calls Biden's vow to nominate first Black woman to the Supreme Court offensive, and while civil rights advocates say the nomination is long overdue for better representation on federal courts. So, what do you think about that, Tracey? As far as him saying like, this is not needed because Black women don't really represent a good portion of the population. They only represent 6% of the population. He's saying to 94% of Americans, I don't give a damn about you. You are ineligible. He said it's actually an insult to Black women. Cruz continued. If he came and said, I'm going to put the best jurist on the court, and he looked at the number of people and ended up nominating a Black woman, he could credibly say, okay, I'm nominating the person who's most qualified. He's not even pretending to say that. And I know that they responded to this before, right? They said, Biden said, it's not like I'm just going to appoint just anybody. I said, I'm going to consider people who have not been represented in the court, and I'm going to still pick the best person. Right. He didn't just say I'm gonna pick somebody out of my hat and not gonna be qualified. So, and the fact that Ted Cruz about Black people, don't tell me, sir, white man, that I as a Black woman should be offended by it, because I'm not offended by it. I'm glad to see that he's gonna pick somebody that looks like me or my culture, and also who is hopefully the best person for the job. So I'm not offended, Ted Cruz, just to let you know. So you can't be offended on my behalf. But what do you think, Trace?
Right. I'm like, Ted.
We in Texas, y'all. So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting to me when there's this uproar about disparity when it's on this side. So he's not concerned about the current disparity where white males represent the majority of district court judges, Supreme Court justices, all the way on down, right? He's not up in arms about that disparity. But since Biden has identified and at least has made a pledge at this point to try and address that disparity on the other side to the benefit of Black people or the benefit of Black women, now he's up in arms. This is offensive. What about it being offensive that it's been years and years of a disparity of representation in the justice system? Like, you're not offended by that. Like, I find that very interesting that because Biden said, let's clear the disparity up, let's try to do something about it. Now all of a sudden it's offensive and we should be offended. Like, why would he even? And that, Ted.
Ted. What do y'all think? Zephyr Dad said Dibs better enjoy this picture because I wouldn't be surprised if they lose the midterms in the 20. Listen, y'all, we have such a small margin in the like we have a majority right now. We, meaning Democrats, have a majority right now, but it's such a slim majority like that. That's why they said you possibly should pick somebody who can get bipartisan support, because it can shift. People are not registering to vote. People are not going to the polls to vote. We was ahead, and then you turn around, bam, we behind. Like, what the heck happened? And it's not. And I think people take it for granted, and I'm glad that Free Dad pointed that out, because like y'all over here taking stuff for granted and not making your voice heard. And I did a little on IG about people going to the midterm election. They like a lot of times people forget about that, only show up at the presidential elections, and then they wonder how that trickled down. This is how it trickles down. Like the person that you pick in the midterm elections, the non-presidential, those people are the ones that are impacting your daily life. Right. And of course, the presidential elections, also the people that can appoint somebody to be the next Supreme Court judge. They're picking the judges. They're picking like different critical positions. That's why you need to go to the polls other than just on presidential election time. That's why. This is the main reason. So if you're not registered to vote, consider this a PSC for y'all to go out there and register to vote so you can vote for your attorney generals, vote for your governors. Stacey Abrams did an awesome job of like corralling people in the midterm before it was even like what we thought was necessary. She was getting people out there to make sure they was already in place and ready, even though there were things to kind of voter suppression as it got closer to the election. But she did her part, and this is why not just her, everybody, you can do your own part. You ain't got to be a Stacey Abrams. You can be you and go and do your part. Encourage your family members, encourage your friends. You're not registered to vote. Did you move recently? Did you register when you moved to that new state? Things of that nature. So that was just like my little soapbox. So
yeah, true. I also kind of looked at her from Ted. Okay, yes, ridiculous. I'm sure you're talking about Ted. I don't even have to ask.
Right.
So so I also looked at it too. She Jay Michelle is married and she has one daughter. So I was kind of thinking from the perspective of like women, and they say like, can you have it all, right? So if she gets appointed, I don't really know these other nominees and their familial backgrounds, but are they married? Do they have kids? You know, do they have other facets of their identities? And you know, being on the Supreme Court and kind of showing, well, can you have it all as a whole nother topic, right? Because I feel like that is a double-edged sword, and that's a whole nother topic that we have to do another day, right? Can you have it all? And the demands that are placed on women, I'm not necessarily agreeing with that women should have to wear all of these hats. But if you want to, right? If you want to have it all, have the family, have the Supreme Court justice seat, you should be able to. And this will be a great example of a Black woman being able to reach such a pinnacle in their legal career. Because I mean, for us as attorneys, being a Supreme Court justice would be the top, right? You know, I mean, not everybody wants to be a judge, but it's definitely one of the highest positions that you can attain in this career. So, I mean, I love to see it. No matter who gets the seat, I hope it's somebody who is in line with my personal, political, and professional needs. But I do love to see the Black women representation here. I mean, I think no matter what, it's definitely a positive thing.
I know Leandra Krueger. So the one if you're looking at the screen, the one in the middle, she's from California. I think she's one of the younger appointments. She's currently a federal judge in California, and she's one of the younger appointments. And I don't know her, like you said, I don't know her actual personal life either. But it's interesting to see kind of like how the court used to look as far as older people, older white men, versus how it's starting to change. And I thought that was kind of impressive. This is Ketanji Brown Jackson. But Leandra Krueger, she's on Supreme Court in California. And I'm like, she don't look like she that much older than me. Well, she's 45. That's still young, right? Yeah. So it's just like, oh, it's attainable. And, the actual previous, I guess, the previous thought that you had to be old. And, of course, you have to have some experience under your belt, but it doesn't mean you have to take many, many, many years to get that experience. So she's actually one of the younger ones being appointed. We have South Carolina U.S. District Court Judge J. Michelle Childs.
Yeah, she's 55. So I know she's 55.
Anita Earls is 61 from North Carolina. District Judge Wilhemena Mimi Wright. She's from Minnesota's Federal District. Eunice Lee is former New York public defender. And we have Judge Holly Thomas. She was confirmed last week to the Ninth Circuit. And who's his last person? We have Tiffany Cunningham, a former patent attorney in U.S. Patent and Trade Office, who became the first Black judge in the federal circuit when the Senate confirmed her last year. Oh, we have one more, a public defender, Ariana Freeman. So, I mean, they all... Oh, we have one more, too.
No, I'm like, it keeps going.
I know, Nancy Abdu. I didn't know the short list got longer than the short. But I mean, it's a good variety, and I think that's important to show. Like, okay, they're considering this, and it's like I said, it's a direct contrast to like what we talked about on Saturday with like how these people look, and ain't nobody taking nobody's spots, and ain't nobody taking nobody's man. So this is a different contrast to that.
I will.
Not on court packing. I know it's a little off topic, but yeah. Definitely that we not talking. No, get it. Dibs always picking old. Motherfuckers pick people who can't sit on the bench, who can sit on the bench for. Well, yes, that's true.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
The pick over 59 Street, I need someone who can do 40 plus years. You have to think about that longevity, right? These people stay on there, and it's like 10-year professors, right? They ain't going nowhere. This is like this is a cushy job, right? They work a certain amount of months a year. They, of course, though, when they're working, it's really intense, but it's like, this is like, where you go? Nobody's, all right, I'm done being a Supreme Court judge. I'm going to go do something else real quick. Like,
the lifetime appointments, whoever you choose, we are stuck with them.
Right. So you have to think about that. Think about that thought, but I think that, we'll see. We'll see. Jeffrey, what you got to say about court packing? Because I don't know how off topic you want to go and how much off topic we want to go with you. But
need to Zoom call you or something. No, I'm just
I know. Like, we're gonna bring you on this live to see what you got to say, because you're always entertaining. But but I think it's an interesting take, and I think they said they're gonna pick it by the end of this month. which is significant because, it's Black History Month, y'all. I'm always saying Happy Black History Month, y'all, right? So the fact that they are going to pick it during Black History Month, that's actually significant. So I want to make sure we hopped on the live, and I want to see nobody's vote. We have a few people on the live now. Put in the chat, who do you think is going to get picked? Are you registered to vote? Put a thumbs up if you registered to vote, so we can know that we touch at least a few people that came on the live. On the replay, we can hear what people have to say as well. But this is gonna be monumental, and I'm excited to see, like, when Samara came on our Black History Month video, she said she wanted to be a Supreme Court justice. I'm like, we ain't gotta wait for her to get older to be the first. Like, we have somebody right now who's paving the way for her. So it's really important to me because I'm an adult and I still look up to people. She's a child, a 10-year-old child who's actually looking up to people. So I think it's important.
And she's seen it happen live before.
Right. She saw the first Black president, like, as a kid versus I saw it as an adult. We were in law school. It took that long for me to see the first Black president. She saw it as a kid. So it's like, oh, the sky's the limit. We saw this happening. And that's why I think it's really significant, because it's like, it gives people hope. Like, oh, they picked few people from the Supreme Court. What was last time? People who wasn't even judges before. You know how you go for an interview and they like, why should we pick you for the job? Because you've never done it before. They over there pick a Supreme Court justices who ain't never been a judge before. So I'm like, if y'all could do that, y'all can pick me.
Pick me.
Right. And then they realized when they picked that, okay, these people's beliefs make a difference. I think what's the chick's name who has a certain view on abortion rights and stuff. And then, Texas just passed that law about, you can't have an abortion of a certain amount of weeks. And when they made it to the Supreme Court to say about, I was like, yeah, y'all knew when y'all picked her. Maybe y'all didn't think about it, but when you picked her for that position, knowing her previous record, she was going to, like, not be of help to y'all. So hopefully you find out you're pregnant before you reach that. How much is week? It's like 7 weeks or something. Yeah, something early, something earlier than when most people realize they're actually pregnant. So that by the time you realize you're pregnant, it's too late to have abortion in Texas as of now, like legally.
Welcome to good old Texas. Say hi to Ted while you're here.
On his way to Cancun. Like, we had a winter storm, a bad winter storm this year, but last year he was like, I'm going to Cancun. See y'all.
For the people.
So yeah, let's see. We have another unpopular opinion. If justice cared about the dynamic of the court, they should have retired instead of being 95 and dying on the bench. If you don't want a conservative court, retire before you die. What y'all think about that?
I'm a proponent. If you're healthy and well and you are in a position where you can continue working. But we have some judges right here in Texas. Look, we have some judges that are on lifetime appointments that
shouldn't be
difficult. And I mean, I'm not just saying, I mean, they may be difficult for various different reasons, but as I'm sure the attorneys who have been practicing for 30 years and kind of watched the progression, and when they started practicing, these judges were 70 years old and they're still on the bench, and they see the difference between 65-year-old Joe and 92-year-old Joe on the bench, and it can be a hindrance to justice. Like, it really can be in certain situations. I mean, depending on the job, even though practicing law is not a physical job, it's still mentally taxing. And at some point, can you really do the best job for the people at 90-something years old when you're still on the bench and you've done this job for 50, 60 years? Can you? I mean, I think it goes on a case-by-case basis, right? But I think I do agree with what I think you're saying, that Dad is doing evaluation. Like, should you retire? Just because you have a lifetime appointment doesn't mean that's the best thing for the people. And we appoint you to do the best thing for the people. And just because you can stay on the bench doesn't mean you should. Now, I'm not going to say it should be just a blanket retirement age, like, well, it's a lifetime appointment, but we're going to force you to retire at 80, because one 80-year-old could look totally different than another 80-year-old. So I think they should be allowed to evaluate it on a case-by-case basis. But I feel like there should be some kind of evaluation, because
kind of like how you should you still have your driver's license when you get a certain age? Because some people be driving crazy when they get older. Like, you should have to go take the test again because you might not know. But then also, like, things change. Imagine being on the court that long and how things have changed. Technology changes, like keeping up with all these things. Like, if you're the person, like you said, a case-by-case basis, but if you're the person that's not keeping up with how things are changing and you still have that old mindset, you may not, like you said, deliver justice like it needs to be delivered because you're not keeping up with what things are happening. So that may be a reason to not be on there forever. So But yeah, so we're not gonna make this live too long. Thank you guys all that tuned in today. And we're going to see you in the next video. Hopefully, we'll do some more things before the end of the month. But we might come back to do the official announcement and say whether I was correct about Ketanji Brown Jackson being the next Supreme Court Justice.
We'll see.
So we might have a nice little friendly bet.
All right, y'all. Good night.
All right. Thank you, guys. We'll see you in the next video.